Without further ado, I'd like to call the March 14th, 2014 meeting of the Urbana Public Television Commission to order. Would the clerk call the roll?
Yes, Chair Folk.
Present.
Commissioner Polk.
Present.
Commissioner Fuller.
Present.
Commissioner Cinder.
Present.
Commissioner Inskeep.
Present.
And Commissioner Mancuso notified us that she would not be able to attend today.
Does anyone have any modifications for the agenda that they'd like to propose?
Yes. We have Joanna Geigner here from Urbana School District to talk about some upcoming collaborative work with UPTV. And I'd like to add her, bring her up before the audience participation due to some scheduling.
Okay, so just right before that, or do you want it as soon as possible?
As soon as possible, please.
Okay, then I'd propose we do it before correspondence.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so the agenda is approved as stated. And moving on to the approval of the minutes. Did anyone have any comments on them?
I move we approve the minutes.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. And I'll give the floor to Chris, and he can introduce.
Okay. I'd like to bring Mrs. Geigner up, please. Hi.
Good afternoon. My name is Joanne Geigner. I'm the Communications Specialist with Urbana School District number 116. Barbie Price, an Urbana Middle School teacher of Family and Consumer Science, and I have proposed a cooking class to be filmed by UPTV with the help of our UHS broadcasting students, aimed at students and families that focus on creative ways of teaching cooking with an emphasis on preparing healthy meals for families that are easy, affordable, budget-wise, promote family interaction, and provides food and kitchen safety tips. This is a creative way for us to teach planning, budgeting, sanitation, and also incorporating other academic disciplines like math and science. Barbie will be the lead chef and have a student helper for each demonstration filmed. I also understand that our superintendent, Dr. Don Owen, and UMS principal, Scott Woods, have also agreed to be helpers during the demonstration. So that's going to be that's going to be interesting if you know the two personalities. At the UMS kitchens, her and the student helper will prepare an item or meal in some cases that the community member watching will be able to duplicate with relative ease. Recipes and step-by-step instructions will be reviewed and provided. The cooking show, as yet unnamed, provides USD 116 a chance to connect with our students, their families, and the community at large. As we move to implement our strategic plan, this endeavor will help several different strategies that we have, including engaging students and families, community partnerships, along with personally challenging education goals for our students and curriculum instruction and assessment goals. In previous meetings with Jake Schumacher and Jason Liggett, we presented our proposal and discussed logistics of filming at UMS. We have 6 full kitchen areas in our Family and Consumer Science area that will be available for us to use for filming. Ms. Price and I will be meeting next week to discuss specifics of segment content, timelines, initial setup, participant involvement, and filming details. We are in the process of finding grant opportunities to help with production costs, and we're looking at local food vendors for supply donation possibilities. We are looking forward to working with UPTV on this project, and we feel that this is a great opportunity to showcase our faculty and student talent and to make a creative connection with our community. I thank you for your time this afternoon, and I open the floor for questions if you have any.
Do you anticipate utilizing the Urbana Farmers Market when it
Yes, we do hope to have connections within the farmers market, whether it's strictly a vendor opportunity or possibly even an opportunity we've discussed about having, taking the cooking show on the road, maybe having a Top Chef sort of competition that could involve the farmers market.
And I could just add, from the staff point of view, we are extremely excited about this. I've wanted a cooking show here as long as I've been here. They're always popular with the viewers, and I know that this one is going to be extremely popular. It's been a pleasure so far working with Joanne and Barbie, who are like completely enthusiastic and energetic people about this. I think this is going to be a really, really good show. And personally, you know, a lot of our involvement with the schools has been along the lines of sports, and this is the one sport that I participate in. Thanks very much for your initiative on this.
Oh, you're welcome. As the mother of a sixth grader, I'm also interested in finding creative ways of helping her learn how to cooking other than me sitting in the kitchen saying, do this, do this, do this. I think that this will help broaden the audience a little bit. So
It's very exciting. Maybe you can, if after you've got a few episodes in, you can send one to Jamie Oliver and see if he'll make a guest appearance.
we're a little worried that Food Network will show up and try to take Miss Price away from us. So we're not sure about that yet.
Okay. Okay, well then I won't tell him.
All right. Thank you very much for your time.
Moving on to correspondence.
In your packets, I have included correspondence from an Urbana resident who had a complaint about local production that airs late at night. This is the complete correspondence we've had from the resident. She contacted both Peter and Jason and myself, and I'll let you read that. We invited her to appear today, and I don't know if she's going to come or not, but she's been invited. Also included are a couple of press releases from the city of Urbana that pertain to UPTV, and both of these I'm going to have Jason talk to you at greater length about later in the meeting. And I included an article that I stumbled across. I'd actually never seen this article, even though it's several years old. I was requested by the mayor and by Sanford to find out how many public access stations there actually are in the country, similar to us, you know, with the P. And I've been in community media for over 3 decades, and even I was surprised by the numbers I was finding. There are 27 or 28 public access stations in the state of Illinois alone, and there are well over 1,800 nationally. Wow. So it gave me a good feeling, and so I included this article in case you might be interested in reading it. And if you go to the article online, it has a lot of clickable links to other resources.
So is there an organization, or is that NATOA?
Well, there are 2 organizations that serve our kinds of stations. NATOA generally serves governmental and educational access stations, such as Champaign's station. Our trade organization is the Alliance for Community Media, and they are the ones that I would say largely represent community access television stations, public access.
And you had one of their meetings here a couple of years ago, didn't you?
There was their national conference was in Chicago a
that
couple
must
of years
have
ago.
been what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
And are we a dues-paying member of the ACM?
We will be as of next week. I held off with the dues until we saw what the budget looked like. But yeah,
good.
We're also renewing our membership in the state chapter of NATOA.
Okay.
Because it's much more affordable than the national.
Okay. And moving on to audience participation, we do actually have someone in the. That was correspondence. I don't think we actually got the staff report yet.
No.
So, well, I guess I would, in the interest of discussing the correspondence about the show that was objectionable to one of the viewers, I just thought I'd recap a little bit about what the outcome of that was. So the specific show I'm not going to go into detail on that. But a viewer found a show objectionable and requested that we do something to prevent that kind of thing from being aired on a government-supported station. And I watched the episode in question, and it was indeed quite objectionable until I was informed by one of my staff at my company that actually it was a copy of an Eddie Murphy bit that was done in the 80s that was also objectionable, but objectionable and funny. And so with that really changed the perspective on the show from being something that was merely objectionable to something that was clearly some sort of artistic work. And our policy is to not censor anything that is can legally be shown and is not obscene, and the rules on obscenity are it's in the U.S. it's fairly hard for something to be deemed obscene, and I think that's good from a freedom of speech standpoint. So the result was that we found that there wasn't really much that we could do to limit that content, but there may have been some things that we could do to show balancing content, and we suggested those to the viewer, and suggested that if she had lots of free time on her hands, she might want to do something along those lines. So that's the process that we use here when someone has a complaint. And so if you have issues, we're happy to talk through them with you. I think Jake and Jason do make sure that we're not, well, to the best of their ability, make sure that we're not airing anything that is illegal. And if you feel otherwise, then we're happy to talk about it. And if you feel that something is merely objectionable, you might look for a way to share your viewpoint on this public access station. So, moving forward to the staff report.
Thank you. I should ask that the ever multitasking Jason Liggett is running the cameras for this meeting and will also participate via disembodied voice as we need him. Our camera operator couldn't make it, our scheduled one. So once again, Jason leaps into the breach. And I'd also like to tell listeners that are looking for the David Pakman Show, which is usually seen at this time, it will be on at 2 p.m. this afternoon, and the Prairie Monk at 3 p.m. We will be rebooting our automation system immediately following the commission meeting. We've had several nearly catastrophic computer failures in the past week, and this is a part of attempting to ameliorate that. And if I can make one more quick programming note, Tom Hartman will be back in April, and Pakman will be taking a vacation next week if people are looking for those shows. The first order of business is that I'd like to introduce you to Julia Jones. Julia is our new part-time production assistant at UPTV. She's been here, was it 2 weeks now?
Yes, about
2 weeks. And she's been a delightful person to work alongside of, and she's incredibly quick on the uptake and has been a tremendous help already. So I just want you to welcome Julia. If you want to, I don't know if you want to introduce yourselves to Julia. So.
Sure. If we want to go ahead.
Marie Polk.
I'm Peter Folk.
And Dale Sender.
I'm Carolyn Skeep. I'm the rep from the Urbana Free Library.
Christopher Fuller, rep from Urbana School District 116. Welcome.
Thank you.
And I want to thank her for doing the minutes on this meeting, too. We also have a new intern for the spring semester from Parkland College. He's a multimedia major. His name is Yosef Cash, and he's been putting in around 10 hours a week doing editing and filming and production, and we're happy to have him aboard as well. In terms of some of the new programs that have been on the air since we last met, in the arts and entertainment field, we had a Christmas special this year, and unfortunately I forgot to ask Jason to put it on the clips reel, but we may go ahead and show it in July because it might be nice to have a Christmas program in July when we'll be missing this winter. We've had some various music videos produced, and we did our usual New Year's Eve countdown on screen, so people had a chance to celebrate the new year. In terms of public affairs, we once again recorded and broadcast the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. countywide celebration a number of times. We had several broadcasts of a 2-hour event that occurred at the university called Celebrating the Life of Nelson Mandela. We were the only, I believe, if not the only, one of the only broadcast outlets in town that had the exclusive Edward Snowden interview that Deutsche Welle produced in a secret location. And we had it on the air before you saw it on the national news broadcast, so I was kind of happy about that. We continue to broadcast volunteer-recorded programs from the University YMCA Friday Forum, League of Women Voters presentations, and local citizen forums. Our producer, Ray Morales, who's going to be graduating with his PhD and MD this spring, did 2 one-hour live versions of his program called The Show, which is sort of a cultural program with an urban Latino perspective, which was nice. We haven't had many live shows during the day, and we enjoyed those. We've added another regular live commission broadcast, and that is the Tree Commission. And it was really a very gratifying series of events that involved the Prairie Monk and some local citizen activists and some of the local council people, all concerning the issue of the giant hackberry tree. And that is what actually got the Tree Commission on the air for the first time, is the intense public interest in that. And it was a very synergistic kind of process between the Prairie Monks program and the Tree Commission program. And then Jason ultimately produced a piece about the hackberry tree when it was taken down. And it was just a great example of what we do to enhance the civic health, I think, of our communities. One of the happiest moments of my life was when we were actually able to add live weather to our schedule. And I would like to thank Commissioner Cinder for his initiative in providing that. It's currently not on the air because of our automation crash last week, but we hope to have that back on the air soon. It's up to the minute conditions, basically, in Urbana at Commissioner Cinder's weather station. And that's, I think, very cool. So, the other, or some more other very wonderful things that have been happening as far as our local radio partnerships. We already broadcast programs that we, or volunteers record at WRFU and WEFT. In the last quarter, we've also added a program on WPGU that's called Illini Drive. It's an hour-long sports program, sports talk show. And we air that, we go to PGU and film it and air that Wednesday evenings at 9 p.m. And we added a program from WBCP, 1580 AM, one of our great heritage stations in town. And it's called Talking Sports. It's a 2-hour program. We record it over there Friday afternoon, and we air it on UPTV Saturday mornings from 7 to 9. And it has an interesting UPTV connection because Joe Stovall, who is one of the main hosts of the program, originally started the program years ago, and while it was going on, came to UPTV and started another sports talk show called Tell It Like It Tis, which then went on to a commercial television station locally. So it's nice to have Joe Stovall back on the air on UPTV, and we're appreciating that. He hosts it with the News Gazette's Marcus Jackson and Sarge from WBCP. We continue to do a lot of work with schools. We've been showing an hour-long interview from the CU One-to-One Mentoring Program, their mentor luncheon, with a host talking to mentors about their mentoring experiences. We just concluded the Urbana High School basketball season, and we'll be bringing baseball to you. I think there's only a couple of games, but we'll be bringing those to you in April. You heard from Joanne about our proposed cooking show, and I'm going to ask the disembodied voice of Jason Liggett now to talk to you about the super sectionals.
So, Urbana High School journalism class, I'm assuming everyone can hear me fine?
Yes.
Okay, good. The journalism class was invited by IHSA.TV to stream and broadcast the super sectional games. One just occurred this past Tuesday between St. Thomas More and Hayworth. That was the Class 1A game. So the group and I and Miss Erin Ludwig, the journalism advisor, got to travel to Illinois State University at Redbird Arena, and we got to sit courtside right between the News Gazette and ESPN Radio, and we were right there filming the games, and they got to commentate on that. And then they'll go back this Tuesday to do the Class 4A super sectional matchup. So that's a very cool thing for the students to get involved with, and very privileged that we were invited to go broadcast those games.
So if you don't think that has an impact on career choices, that would be pretty exciting. Jason and I continue to participate in the City of Urbana Communications and Outreach Group, and also the Community Marketing and Communications Group. The first is internal and the second external, I would guess you'd say. Just to update you on our social media, we've passed the 1,000 tweet mark on Twitter. We now have 286 followers on Twitter. And I checked in on Facebook in the middle of February, and it gave us 85 people engaged and a total reach of a little over 1,400 people. So we're doing good with that. We are also going to be able to run ads before movies at the Art Theater, which is a buy that Natalie Kenny Marquez has been able to make affordable for us. So we'll be able to promote our cinema show with G.K. Coleman and Chuck Kapinski, and our movie broadcasts. So that should be pretty exciting too. The local CBS affiliate in Albuquerque, New Mexico, credited us for running some clips from the Champaign County Jail Forum that they asked if they could use because they've hired the same consulting firm in their community and they wanted footage. And WDWS also credited us for use of audio from Jason's Hackberry Tree piece. There are two conferences upcoming. I will be attending the Alliance for Community Media National Conference. It's in Philadelphia in August. 3 days of what they call panels, plenary sessions, workshops, skill shares, design jams, networking, and facility tours. And it's being held in conjunction with the National Alliance for Media, Arts, and Cultures National Conference for the first time. So that should be an exciting and informative event. The Alliance for Community Media Midwest Regional Conference is happening in Madison, Wisconsin in April. And Jason is not only going to attend representing us, but will be doing a presentation to other stations on the care and feeding of volunteers, which he is exceedingly good at. And finally, under the category of awards and recognition, Jason is not only attending and not only presenting, but he's going to be accepting awards for UPTV. We received the Merit Award for our website and a Merit Award for our Facebook page. We submitted 3 programs. All of them won awards. Ricardo Diaz's CU Immigration Forum TV won the Significant Community Program Award. Marie Polk's coverage of the Champaign County Freedom Celebration Parade won the Achievement Award. And the Best of Show was awarded to Ray Morales for his youth performance spoken word piece. And it was the Excellence Award, Best in Show, in the Midwest Video Awards. So we're very proud about that. And finally, Jason's going to tell you about one other honor that was bestowed on one of our productions. Hello? Jason?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
Back. Sorry, I had to turn my microphone back on.
That's okay.
And I'm sorry, what award am I?
Oh,
for?
the garden video.
Oh, yes, very good. So we partnered with the Learman Neighborhood Community Garden, which is located on Washington and Learman. This is a community project that started in 2012, and we ended up working with council members Dennis Roberts and Diane Marlin, as well as Robin Arbiter, who is a community leader in that area, and another community leader in that area, Lizzie Duckworth Carter, produced a song. She wrote a song and a dance number that went with that. So we went out to the garden this last fall, and I filmed that. Members of the community dancing along with the song and singing, and that has been noticed by on the national level, and the Let's Move campaign, which is kind of fronted by First Lady Michelle Obama, recognized that, and it will be now forwarded exactly straight to the White House so they can see that video as well. So that's a pretty cool honor for that neighborhood, as well as UPTV.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a short clips tape to play for you, but before that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
That's a whole boatload of amazing new developments for the last quarter. I wanted to congratulate you on your amazing work, and clearly you're also adding some good members to your team, and that's gratifying to see.
Thank you.
Not in any way speaking about the existing members of the team who also clearly are doing amazing work. Just really cool stuff. I'm proud to be your chair.
Thank you very much. We're proud to be here too, and you know, we have the most amazing staff, both paid and volunteer, that I've ever had the privilege of working with. So it's really gratifying. You want to see clips?
Yeah.
Roll it.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to be here with my beautiful mother. And so it's a little bit different to talk about Kwanzaa on the Queen's Roundtable, but you've covered a lot of different topics that weren't necessarily all completely based around the topic of Christianity and religion. So I appreciate you allowing this to take place here.
This has been a very unique process on this tree. Getting the community involved was a huge plus. It was our first televised tree commission meeting that we all got together to discuss what we were going to do with this tree, and I think it's really panned out well. The community understands what we're doing. They're involved. It's not a surprise. This is a very important tree to the community.
I would not have given Illinois a shot in that Iowa game, especially after the way they got destroyed against Michigan. Were you guys giving Illinois any chance in that game against Iowa?
Not really. I mean, it's hard to, especially with this season, with the team being so up and down. I, as a fan, was in and out and up and down with the team, and it was down and out for me after the Michigan game. It's hard to to see any bright spots after a 31-point loss.
If we didn't have recycling here on Earth, then eventually bottles and newspaper and a bunch of other stuff would start to pile up, and it would be hard to get around, and eventually there would just be so much pollution, the air would get bad, it would be hard to breathe, and the Earth would be very not in good shape.
Is recycling good for the environment? Do you recycle at home?
Don't worry about what the person on this right side of you is going to think, or what the person on the left side of you is going to think, or what the people in front of you or behind you are going to think. It doesn't matter. Just say it loudly with enthusiasm. And then I'm going to say Mai Buye, and you're going to say I Africa. And what that means is come back Africa. And it's a way of saying that we are all, despite the varied colors of our skins, we are all sons and daughters of Africa.
Let's move back to the garden. It's cool in the garden. God, He rules, yeah, yeah, in the garden. It's cool in the garden. There is food, yeah, yeah, in the garden. There are tools, yeah, yeah, in the garden.
Tim Duncan never looks like he plays hard.
Because he looks like he plays like a 50-year-old.
You know what I'm saying?
He should wear some sweats with the shorts on the outside. Because he looked like he playing at the Y.
You never see Tim Duncan running the court, running the floor.
I don't think Tim Duncan's ever seen Tim Duncan.
I mean, he's playing now like Kareem used to do back in the day. You know, Kareem used to never go past half court.
Unless they be like, hey.
Yeah, you know.
Get down there so you shoot the sky.
Yeah, they down there passing the ball down. Here come Kareem.
Hey. Got a hot dog.
Hey,
got a drink. Oh, didn't you guys needed me that time.
I'm gonna put on my new hat, baby. from. You can watch the moon rise over the water. We can hold my hand like I was my father's daughter.
I don't know much about you. Are you a local?
No, I immigrated to Urbana.
Oh, there you go.
So I was born in New York City, and my parents moved to Seattle, so I grew up in Seattle.
Okay.
And then went to school in Massachusetts. Met my husband there, and we went to California for 2 years, and then we moved to Urbana. So I've been back and forth across the country. But Senator Durbin was talking to the mayors in Illinois, the Illinois Municipal League, about the immigration bill, and then this letter came up, so I was very happy to sign it, because I think this is a nation of immigrants, and all the people here, including the Native Americans, came from somewhere else.
Good morning and welcome to Freedom Celebration 2013. I'm Josh Laskowski from CBJ Broadcasting.
And my name is Marie Polk. It is the 64th annual Champaign County Freedom Celebration, and we are on location at the University of Illinois. It is absolutely beautiful today.
After all the rain we've had this summer.
I know.
It is so nice in Champaign County today and gearing up for what's going to be a very exciting day.
Yes, what a wonderful way to start the summer. The 64th annual Champaign County Freedom Celebration.
Innocence snatched from their hearts and replaced with anger and aggression from facing the dangers and oppression of inferior living conditions. They are soldiers equipped with the helmet of locked thoughts that have grown impenetrable from neglect and malnourishment. They carry an armor of thick skin and desensitized eyes from growing accustomed to seeing life die. They are holding all black 9mm semi-automatic souls that shoot nothing but hate. Our babies are ready for war, fighting for survival, and if they make it through the trenches of modern day poverty to see the day end, the reward is having the opportunity to do it again tomorrow. They deserve to feel sorrow, but the tear ducts have been so dry for so long that dust appears where moisture should, so the frowns have turned to scowls because it burns to feel.
I neglected to mention Dale Cinder's production of the Margaret O'Brien concert as well. Margaret O'Brien passed away shortly after that was recorded, I think so.
Good stuff as always. And now moving on to audience participation. We do have a member in the audience, or a audience member at least. If you would state your name and address for the record.
Carol McCusick, 1907 North Cunningham Avenue. It was, what one was it, March 2013, there was the question raised about the video being dropped, lapsing from view anyway, on the meeting board and various public body pages. And at that time, there was, I think we were reassured that it was at least all of the year of 2012 was still up. And, you know, one of the things about that video is the question of, you know, knowing, you know, kind of what's in storage, what's held, in that they're not, in that my idea is that it's not required to video record meetings or even audio record them, open meetings, that you know, you might not know what you were able to ask for later through Freedom of Information, for example. And also, if you get something through FOIA, I think you just get it yourself. You know, if your request is answered, it's not, and I'm not sure if it's something that you could request to get in such a way that everybody could share it, like the request could be satisfied for the public, for example. The question came up of if you make it, if it exists, does it have to be saved? I think that came up. The chair at the Plan Commission meeting answered that to me, that it's digital so that it does have to be saved. So that kind of reminded me, I guess I don't know whether written records about the commissions have to be saved forever, you know. I didn't think I was sure I knew the answer to that question either. And so after this Plan Commission, first of all, I might say that I have two areas. This is one area, this question about the records of meetings that UPTV is responsible for, but so that's why it would be particularly appropriate to their commission. And I also have a topic that has it relates to all boards and commissions, but it has a dimension that you'd be the expert on, you know, which is about is there an implication from the Open Meetings Act that you'll have every regular meeting, if not on the date, you know, at a nearby date? And I've been looking at the arguments about that, and so I wanted to say some things about that. So maybe if I just said that to whet your appetite, so maybe I will be able to ask for more time on that one. But to go back to the records of the video recordings that are no longer online, I brought the Freedom of Information Act, and it says, as to public records prepared or received after the effective date of this act. Now, I printed out on March 8th, 2012, so it might not be up to date, but it says, in this one section, Section 5, as to public records prepared or received after the effective date of this act, each public body shall maintain and make available for inspection and copying a reasonably current list of all types or categories of records under its control. This list shall be reasonably detailed in order to aid persons in obtaining access to public records pursuant to this act. Each public body shall furnish, upon request, a description of the manner in which the public records stored by means of electronic data processing may be obtained in a form comprehensible to persons lacking knowledge of computer language or printout format. So what I'm understanding from that is that any board or commission is going to want to have along with the other, you know, they'll say we have minutes and we have.
Carol, your time is up, but if you could wrap up.
So should I see if there's interest in letting me have more time?
I would like to address this first topic first, and then if you could give maybe a 30-second summary of your other topic, then that would be so. Recapping what I understood from Carol's question, so I am familiar with the Open Meetings Act, as I think we all had to pass a test on it. And there is a provision in there that indicates that the public body has to provide a list of what exists, and in the case of digital records, what form they are in, to facilitate people knowing what they can request. So my question for Jake is, is that list, where is that list, and to what extent is that list up to date?
That's a good question. as I understand it, the list is made available on request, and we've never had a request for it. So I've never had occasion to update any list that has that. You know, we've talked to Carol before about the fact that the online access to meeting recordings is largely dictated by the amount of server space that the city can afford. But we continue to maintain a library of DVDs of meetings as far as they've been recorded. And as far as the rest of the city goes, I don't know. This would be a question for the city clerk, in my opinion, and I've never had to address it before.
Okay.
I'd be happy to provide a list of our meetings.
I know that there's supposed to be an Open Meetings Act officer. Is there one for the city, or is there one specifically for UPTV and a different one for the city?
That's a good question. If there is one for UPTV, no one has ever told me.
Okay.
I assume I act in that capacity as manager.
Okay.
There is just one for the city that
thank
you'd
you.
want to contact.
Thank you, disembodied Jason.
You're welcome.
Okay, so my takeaway from that is that Jake's reading of the Open Meetings Act, which may or may not be accurate, but you have it in front of you, so you'll be able to check that, is that list is available on request. So if you would like a list of the different media that are available, you should request it. And I know from having done one or two that Open Meetings Act requests, or is that what they're called? Public information requests are quite easy to do, and you can just write it on a piece of paper and submit it to Jake, and given that he just volunteered to provide it, then that he may have to give it to the Open Meetings Act officer that Jason can tell him who that is, I'm sure.
Yeah. Jason, do you have anything to add on this topic?
No, not really. You just want to run everything through the city clerk's office. You can make all FOIA requests for not just UPTV commission, but any commission or any FOIA-able document that the city has at the city clerk's office.
Okay, so if you are interested in knowing what records are in what form and how far back the meetings go, I would recommend that you make that request to the city clerk.
Okay, well, if you said 30 seconds on the other topic.
Yes.
So I won't try to, that doesn't include a rebuttal to what I've just heard about this topic.
Sure, let's do 30 seconds on that and then 30 seconds on your other topic.
Okay, well, types of records would not necessarily, and it's in the Freedom of Information Act rather than the Illinois Open Meetings Act, for each public body would I wasn't sure if it would be which dates video you promised to keep video recordings for. So I was going to advise people to write, if they've seen video online, write it down or take a snapshot of the meeting page, because later you can say you should have this, it was made, it shouldn't disappear. And you know, is there any reason to assume that, I mean, some meetings move upstairs sometimes and take place in the executive conference room, for example, or down at Public Works, so they wouldn't have video for every meeting, so it's not as though you're going to have information about a block of dates, like everything after October 2012 is available in video. It'll probably, so that's what I'm concerned about, that history of which video recordings we have. And then just offhand, that's what I think of rebuttal-wise. I was gonna, and it, you know, like what Jake would answer that question for the UPTV commission video recordings. He wouldn't answer it for the other commissions, even though you make the videos at the UPTV station for the city meetings, other meetings than UPTV commission. The other topic, it has to do with the section where, okay, with a quarterly meeting like this, and this is a question, so 30 seconds, wow. Do you have in your bylaws or in the policy and procedure things that are sort of like bylaws, do you have who has the authority to call meetings? Because they say something went wrong because of weather, because of one of, let's say, just for instance, one of your quarterly meeting dates.
Okay.
Would you be in a position to schedule something nearby on like an emergency basis? I'm not sure how you work.
Yeah, so that is governed by the Open Meetings Act. We have regular meetings, and they're noticed at least 48 hours in advance, I believe. They're noticed via a posting on that door. I think they're in the newspaper.
And on the city website. So if a regular meeting is canceled, it will be noticed 48 hours before that it has been canceled. And if another meeting is scheduled, that will also be noticed 48 hours in advance. There are multiple ways you can keep track of that information on the website. I think there are RSS feeds for almost every page on that site now, and so you could track it that way. Okay.
Do you put your notices in the papers?
The newspaper, no, not to my knowledge.
Oh, okay.
But you would need, the Illinois Open Meetings Act doesn't give anybody in your body the authority to cancel or schedule a meeting in between meetings. That you didn't make a motion, we're going to change our calendar in such a way to add this date and substitute it for this other date. If that happened in a meeting, it's a decision, but if it happens in between meetings, how do you get that authority?
Jake, can I call a meeting?
So far as I understand, the chair has the authority to schedule a special meeting, and a special meeting would be noticed just like a regularly scheduled meeting. You have 48 hours, at least a minimum of 48 hours in advance. It would be posted on the website and here at the city building. And that's as far as I know.
Yeah, so I think that if we could move on for now. My understanding is that we can call meetings. I can call special meetings, and if anyone ever wants to request a special meeting, that would be super exciting. So, totally do that. But there hasn't been much need for that in the case of UPTV. Those are, as Jake said, noticed just like every other open public meeting. Where I don't think we have any provision for having emergency meetings without notice, though they are covered by the Open Meetings Act. If we ever had, some fire, then we had to. If we all came to help put out a fire at UPTV, then it would by de facto be a public meeting, and that would go under the emergency meetings provisions there. Okay. Does anyone else have comments or questions for Carol? Okay. Moving on to unfinished business, the policies and procedures revision.
It remains in a state of flux. There were a number of discussions in the interim since Sanford Hess took over IT concerning things like staffing of UPTV and access fees and things like that. And it was not feasible to undertake further revisions on that document until I knew exactly what the future of all of those things were going to be. And I found out this Tuesday that everything is going to be status quo for the next fiscal year. Now that I know that, I'm going to go ahead and proceed with the revisions. You saw in large part what they will be in the document I gave you last time. I'm going to do some cosmetic changes on those in accordance with legal's recommendations about page numbers, consistency of headings, things like that. and there may be one or two wording things. We are considering a change in the duplication fee. We want to be very careful to make sure it reflects actual costs for duplication, and we'll probably be raising it from $10 to $12. And we're also going to put into place a different policy in terms of member productions, in terms of how we make copies for them and who is charged and what. But those things, aside from that, that's the only thing that's going to be in the policies and procedures revisions that you really haven't seen yet. So as soon as that document is done, I will forward it to you all individually. I'll probably run it by legal one more time just to make sure we're copacetic with it. And then as we move from finance to the executive division next fiscal year, those will probably be put into place at that time, I would say. So it's a logical time to do it.
It's not directly related to that, but is there another member meeting in the summer, or is there just one in the winter?
We only have had an annual meeting since I've been here. I thought about that. We've lucked out with weather so far in December, but you can't always count on that anymore with the new weather. So it's, summer's also hard. It's vacation time. People are gone and things like that. If we had more time, it would be fun to get together on a monthly basis. I would, since I've been here, I've wanted to try to have like some viewing parties, where people could get together, either watch each other's video or watch video from elsewhere, and just have kind of a discussion about, that kind of stuff. We've been so busy just trying to get everything that we've talked about today done. We haven't had a chance to do that yet, but I would like to.
Okay. So it sounds like most likely the policies and procedures revision will be completed at some time in the next quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And so
I would really like to get it off my desk.
There will be an opportunity in December then at the annual meeting for everybody to all of the members that want to talk about it then, or of course they could come to any one of these meetings.
Yeah, and it'll be on the urbanapublictelevision.org website as well. So.
Okay, good. Are there any other commissioner comments on that? Okay. Moving on to new business equipment purchases. Anything interesting there?
I'll handle this for Jason unless he prefers to do it himself. We have made no equipment purchases in this last quarter. However, we have a very large one looming just days ahead, and that is a replacement for our video toaster, which is toast. It is the equipment whereby we are able to broadcast live meetings. And so it's a critical piece of equipment. It failed. Jason somehow was able to coax it back into a working condition, and it's been kind of limping along, but we have a new one. I think, Jason, it's a fairly steep price for the equipment, isn't it?
Yeah, the total cost would be about $16,000.
But it's something we have to have. And this will be an upgrade, too, in terms of its capabilities and its functionality. So, and our automation computer crashed, but IT gave us, I think it may have been the oldest computer in the building. And it finally bit the dust, and so IT has been helping us with the new computer. Everything's up and running.
Great. How long did the the toaster, how long did that last?
We had that for 10 years.
Holy cow.
It was scheduled for replacement at 8 years, so anytime that we're able to get a couple more years out of equipment, we try to do that. So we've done that, so now we're replacing it with they've advanced the technology, as you can imagine, a lot in the last 10 years. So we're excited to get that in, get it installed, and see what all we can do with that.
That's cool. And now on to commissioners' comments. Would anyone like to say anything about anything? Okay. I will say something about how interesting it is to see all of this stuff, but I will beat a drum that I have hit many times. RSS feeds and ability for people who are not cable subscribers to keep up to date on the shows. I know that we can stream it live, and I'm asking about other abilities and any changes that may have happened with regard to those over the last quarter, and any changes that you might foresee in the next quarter.
Jason, did you want to address that?
Yeah, sure. So we've been busy as usual, so we haven't made any complete, what we're gunning for type of moves. But I will note that you mentioned that you can stream it live, but you can also stream it anytime you want on our YouTube channel as far as any locally produced public access show that the producer wants made available on YouTube. We put that on our YouTube channel, and that's just youtube.com/UPTV6. And there's, of course, a link to that from our website, urbanapublictelevision.org.
What percentage of shows do you think end up there of locally produced shows?
Locally produced shows, I would over 50%. I couldn't tell. I would guess it's more around 70%. Some of the church programs haven't put theirs up, and that's just because they don't necessarily. Although they're locally produced, they don't necessarily produce them here at UPTV. But I can't remember of any show that was actually physically edited here at UPTV that didn't go up on our YouTube channel here within the last 3 months.
I will plan for next meeting to bring in a Roku and show off some ways that you can watch that stuff on your TV from home if you do not have cable, but you do have internet. So that's something to tune in for. Same station, same time, 3 months from now, approximately. Our next meeting is scheduled for June 13th, 2014 at noon on this channel in the Urbana City Council chambers. And with that, I will close the meeting.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 And any opposed? No. Okay, this meeting is adjourned.